The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start adding some highlights to make things start looking three-dimensional. A highlight is just the lighter part of an object where the light hits it. So if the sun was shining today and the sun was shining over here, it would hit the tree all on the left side of the tree. And so we would put some highlights or lighter color on the left side of our tree trunk. So to do that, you're going to need a lighter brown, or you could use a yellow, or you could use a white. And we're going to just peel, I'm just going to peel a little bit of this back so that I have more of a tip to work with. And then I'm just going to go right on here on the left side. I'm using the tip of my oil pastel. I'm going right up the trunk, right here. And I'm going to go right up the bottom of this branch all the way to the leaves. And I'm going to skip this part of the tree because that's where the branch attaches. So I wouldn't see a highlight there. I'm going to go right up the trunk with my highlight. Now I would not see a highlight on this side, but I would see a highlight on this branch because I can see the left side of it, up there and up there. You might also want to go back to your original brown color and see if you can kind of use maybe swirly marks to blend so your highlight just looks like it's blended right into your tree. Just like that. You can go back into with your highlight color and do the same thing, because we want sort of a gradual shift from the light highlight to the color of the trunk. So there's our highlight on our tree. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to make a highlight on the grass. So you can use white, or if you used the dark green, you could use the light green. You could even use some yellow. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right up here on the very edge of the hill, I'm going to add a little bit of white just to lighten up this side. Now if we have a highlight, that means we also have a shadow. And if the light is coming from this direction, the shadow would fall over in this direction. So I'm going to take a darker pastel. If you used light green, you could use dark green, or you can use a darker green, or you can use a black, and you can make a shadow. Your shadow is just going to look like kind of a long rectangle that is attached to the bottom of the trunk here. Let me show you. I'm just using a darker green. So it's a long rectangle that just goes over into the field over here. And that's going to be our shadow. If we have a highlight on one side, we have to have a shadow on the opposite side. And since your tree branches out, your shadow could a little bit at the end of the shadow, if you have enough room on your page. So there's my shadow. Now, shadows are a little darker near the object. So if you wanted to, you could go back in with some black, make it a little darker. I'm barely touching my oil pastel to the page to blend the black in with the green and going back over it with the green. That's the great thing about oil pastels. If you don't like what you did, you can always go back over it with a different color. They layer on top of each other to blend. So now we have our highlights. The last thing that we have to do is add the fence. So when we add the fence, you can use any two colors of brown. You can use the brown for the fence posts and then a lighter brown for the highlights. So I'm going to use a different color brown than I used for my tree, just for variety. And I'm going to start by putting the fence post. I'm going to press really hard, and I'm making vertical marks just by making up and down strokes. I'm going to go behind the tree so you don't see the fence behind the tree. And I'm putting the fence a little farther down from my horizon line so it looks like it's actually in the grass and not standing on the edge of the world. So here's my fence, and now I'm going to make the horizontal lines of the fence. So I can go off the page here, and these lines will really kind of follow the curve of the hill. If you get a little green in your brown, it's okay, just press harder with your brown oil pastel. There it is. It's another chance for you to practice your highlights coming up here. Every fence post has to have a highlight. The sun is shining this way, so we're going to take our lighter brown, and I'm just going to put a line of it right down each fence post. If it's a little too difficult to see, you might, oh, there we go. You might need to press harder or get a lighter color. You could even use yellow, Or you could use a little bit of white. So there's my highlights on my fence post. And I have to put highlights on the tops of these fence parts to make it look very real. And again, I'm pressing pretty hard. So oil pastel layers. Oop, you might even press so hard like me, you broke your pastel. That's okay. Just means you're using your pastel like an artist. So I'm almost done with my highlights. There, oh, I got 2 more over here. There, so I pressed very, very hard and dark. Now when I look at this picture, I see a tree that's drawn really the way trees grow. I see some beautiful fall leaves. I see this lovely hill with some grass and this fence and tree that show highlights and shadows. And I think it's great. And I bet you're looking at your picture and you like it too.